Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some really big news right now where PlayStation, Sony, and all of them are basically right now being hit by a ransomware attack. Now, if you guys do not know, right now a lot of really big PlayStation information has now been apparently leaked, has been stolen, and as of right now, there are things getting a little bit feisty over here when it comes to internet hackers. So we're gonna go talk about this, talk about the ongoing drama and everything else, because a lot of stuff is coming out right this second, and also is very concerning stuff. So it also this kind of goes into another weird trend where PlayStation has been getting breached a lot, and I think a lot of folks out here, as at least of right this second, are getting a little bit skeptical of PlayStation's defense capabilities against hackers, information hackers, data breachers, etc. So we're going to talk about all this throughout this video. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch room down below. We have the Amazon links too as well for the consoles, and of course make sure you guys are subscribed for the $500 giveaway, and of course follow the Twitter and Twitch down below for the bonus entries. And let's dive on into the video itself. So very first and foremost, if you guys missed this, I actually did make a video on this when it first came out because it was kind of a big news story, although it was a little bit under wraps, at least in my opinion, where when it comes to this type of stuff is, look, boom, hackers say they've breached all Sony systems, threatening to now sell stolen data. Now, we're not 100% sure if this is also involved on the ongoing brand new basically situation where one of the biggest PlayStation studios has now been hacked and a lot of their information is being held for ransom. That's like the news story, but kind of give you as the heads up, a few weeks ago in September, end of September, there was a big Sony system breach. No one really fully knew what was kind of uncovered from this, and this is where I think this actually is the part, like one of the part two for this story. So basically a ransomware group was actually stolen a lot of different information from Sony, and it was all for, like, they basically sometimes have these big companies where they're like, hey, like, we somehow have all this really juicy detail on Pepsi, Coke, you know, maybe Xbox, PlayStation, whatever. We'll go and release it out to the wild, or if you're Microsoft, give us $1 million and we'll make sure everything gets deleted and we're going to keep it on the low. And this is, I think, a big thing I always kind of know, is because when it comes to this type of stuff is this could be like huge leaked trailers, huge information on what's being developed. And right now on this, I'm going to wait for like a little bit more confirmation to go report on some of this news, but there might even be like a Spider-Man 2 multiplayer game as well, like a pure multiplayer Spider-Man game. So you guys might see some news or a separate video on this later on, so subscribe for that. It's kind of vetting some stuff and making sure I could even legally say it, which I'm pretty sure I can. But either way, when these companies in these big hacking groups go and take stuff from these companies, it adds to a lot of issues. So I think a good example of, like, you get these really big cool products that want to have these big hypes. Like, think about how big the GTA 6 trailer was, to the point where when that trailer got leaked, it had millions of views within minutes. Like, this was under an hour already in the multiple millions of views. And also look at how big the actual GTA 6 trailer was too as well, hitting like over 100 million views in a 24-hour period. So you can kind of go and tell them sometimes these big trade secrets. So let's go into this a huge new superhero game. I'll say for some odd reason this is not true, but say for some odd reason PlayStation, you know, is making a Superman game or like a brand new Batman IP or something like that. Like, stuff like that can add a lot of, number one, value, because you don't want to leak that at a certain time, because like sometimes there's even maybe movie plans or maybe other like merchandising plans or even everything else that might be tied on it, DLC plans, whatever. So right now it does kind of seem like Sony was very on the low. They did not want to make any public statements on this hack, and apparently this hack was actually from the Cyber Security Connect 2 as well, where they described the ransom group as a newcomer on the scene, but one that already boasts an impressive amount of victims. We have successfully compromised all of Sony's systems, including PlayStation. We won't ransom them. We will sell the data due to Sony not wanting to pay. Data is for sale. We are selling it. So if you guys have seen a lot of these kind of statements before on the initial part, they kind of got a lot of this information too as well. And this goes into the part two where it seems even worse, because it seems like the actual information coming out now is that Spider-Man 2's developer Insomniac Games was apparently hit by this Residia ransomware attack. Now, we're not sure if these are all like correlated events. We're not sure if this is also like two hacking groups working together. We're not sure if it's the same exact hacking group on top of this, but it does seem like they have now confirmed hacked PlayStation. Like, this is a confirmed hack as of right now, apparently. So ransomware gang post developer passports alongside internal screenshots from a yet to be released Wolverine game. Now, once again, I want to be a little bit careful on what I show, because in theory, this is still technically like not my information to show and other things else. So please don't sue me, Sony. I just want to go talk about the news and let people know, and kind of also talk about the fact of also kind of supporting PlayStation, because apparently some of the internal data from the developers, like let's say like work IDs or like passports, etc., which they mention, this is also developers. Their own personal information is being leaked. And this is not like just the game. Like if the game itself was leaked, that's bad for PlayStation, bad for Sony, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to personal stuff, like if I was working in a company and the stuff I was working for, like 3D modeling or voice acting or whatever, if that got taken out, yes, that makes me upset. Yes, that's bad. But it's kind of more of my boss's problem. It's still my problem too, but it's my boss's problem, number one. I'm sure you guys know what I mean. But if I'm working at a company and my random like passport, my ID, my social security number, my paycheck, whatever is getting leaked, that adds a lot more extra issues. This makes things a little bit harder too as well. So ransomware operator Residia has posted limited data that appears to back up its claim that has successfully hacked video game developer Insomniac Games. Insomniac is best known for its 2 award-winning Spider-Man games and is now currently developing a title based on Marvel's Wolverine. In fact, some details regarding the upcoming Wolverine game may have been included in the hack, as an annotated screenshot from the game appears to be included in that gang's proof of hack data, along with the character art that seems to relate to other Marvel characters that also may be featured in the game. Now, once again, I don't want to show too much of this stuff overall, but like this has seemed like it has been confirmed. I'm gonna just so like, I never get like sass, I guess, from the YouTube community. Hope you guys never mind. I just want to spoil the game in case some people do like to prefer the anti-spoiler wise. I don't want to go and showcase up personal information too as well, but I also want to report on this news. Like I'm technically a news reporter, I guess, technically, when it comes to all this type of stuff. And it's crazy to see this because this is like a huge I almost want to say getting close to probably hundreds of millions of dollar IP. Think about how much money Spider-Man made. I'm sure you guys have almost all heard of Wolverine. And if this game sells, like, let's say, like 10 million copies, that can get pretty close up there if you factor maybe potential future DLCs, maybe video game tie-ins too as well, like movie tie-ins, maybe even Marvel like pays them too as well to make some games. Sometimes that does happen too as well. But like that's very feasible. Like for how widespread Wolverine is and Insomniac too, like this could be hundreds of millions of dollars worth of game and also game stuff. This could be some big information coming out in terms of just like sales alone. So yeah, so right now it seems like there's big details coming out for it. But the bigger issue over here is that there also was passport scans that appeared to belong to Insomniac employees, including at least one ex-employee who now works at Disney after being laid off by the developer 2 months ago. Another personal document appears to belong to the voice actor who voiced Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, in the latest release of the game, Yuri Lowenthal. So not only are there just like general employees, but as well folks that are quite literally in part of the integral Insomniac universe. Like, don't get me wrong, there's probably gonna be a lot more Spider-Man games out there. Spider-Man DLCs, crossovers, or any other type of voice acting. And for someone like Yuri, that's a pretty well-named person. I've even reported on that person's like voice acting in my videos themselves, like multiple times before. So this is some big deals. Other documents featured as proof of hack material include internal emails and signed confidentiality in documents. The Residia gang is saying Insomniac has 7 days now before the full data set is published, but is also currently running an auction on the data with a starting price right now of 50 Bitcoin or over $2 million. With just 7 days on the clock, seize the opportunity to bid on exclusive, unique, and impressive data, Residia said on its own leak site. Open your wallets and be ready to buy exclusive data. We sell only to one hand, no reselling. You will be the only winner. So this is getting kind of crazy because, like I said, the personal data being leaked, I would almost want to say for a company like Insomniac or Sony, this is one of those things where I would hope, well, okay, it's like a 50-50 because in theory, you almost want to be a strong man and not usually deal with like cyber terrorists or, like hackers, because it kind of goes and shows you might be weak and be able to go deal with other folks. But I do kind of feel like this almost went even bigger and beyond, where employee personal information is now being investigated and has a chance to be sold to random people. So it depends on how this whole hack was kind of given. Like, I'm not sure if it's social engineering, but based on the information that they have, it doesn't seem like it. But this almost kind of seems like I almost hope that PlayStation, you guys can maybe disagree on this, might be a hot take, but they almost hope that they will pay the extra money to make sure that their employees are safe. Because if I worked at a company as a multi-billion-dollar company like Sony, and for some reason it was their fault, my personal information, my address or salary or social security number or whatever got leaked entirely because of them, I'd be very upset. But at the same time, I don't even know who'd even buy this. Because, well, first and foremost, something like a Nintendo, Microsoft, or other third-party big companies might like it, sure. But at the same time, even if you're individually rich, spending $2 million on this bidding point is also kind of a hard thing to deal with. Because in theory, what are you going to do with knowing that Insomniac game information is coming out earlier rather than like just be excited for the game? Like, I mean, you could be excited, but at the same time, if you have a few $1 million, make your own games too as well. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. This is a bigger issue, and we'll probably have a lot more news coming out. There is some leaks already coming out with this, so I'll talk about that and maybe a separate video. We have a Twitter and Twitch link down below. Subscribe with the notifications on. We have that Twitter giveaway too as well going on, everything. And of course, I hope everything works out best for Sony employees.